We're live.
Hey everyone, welcome to The Plot. So, this is the show where we talk everything about AI and real life business applications. I'm Dennis Romes, co founder and CEO here at Nedzo. And also, I'm here with my business partner, Ivo Schipper, our CTO and co founder as well. And every week, we do these podcasts where we break down what's happening in AI, what we're building, and documenting our journey. Now, it's been 2.5 weeks since our last episode, and there's been a reason for it. So, Ivo, what has been the reason as to why we've been skipping these episodes? What happened?
Yeah, we have been extremely busy getting the best AI agent out there for customer experience, Ned AI. Previously, we were more like an agent builder platform, and now we know what works, we know what applications work. So we built Ned for service and Ned for sales to help with specific problems, like with customer service, answering problems, helping with procedures. We decreased the complexity here so much that we're going down from your agent is ready within a couple hours to your agent is ready in minutes. We have so much experience with building the agents. We know what works. We know how the tools are the best attached. So we minimize the settings as much as possible for the user so they can set it up super quick and with all the settings the right way. I'm super proud of this, what our team was able to build in just 2 weeks. And I'm super excited about the future about this. What would you say is the best about the new Ned AI?
Yeah, I think if I know that on the last episode, we kind of we keep doing this thing of say, oh, we are proud of what we built, but that is true, which is we are freaking in love with Nedzo and now Ned AI, which is our line of products that Nedzo is pushing out. And the key thing is really what is the biggest problem that we are solving? And in my point of view, uh, as you said, we learned so much along the way where we have processed over 20 million conversations, most of them in phone call settings, but a lot of them also outside phone call settings. And of course, we went from, as you said in the beginning, facilitating agent orchestration and agent melding. But for us is we try to see beyond it, especially for the physical economy. And what is the physical economy? The physical economy is all these businesses that have to deal in person. They are actually from home services, renovations, construction, real estate, all these different industries that are actually out there that deal with real customers. They have to face the consequences of a bad interaction between their customer and their business. And what we've been observing lately is everyone is focusing on the technicality of it, which I think it's great, which is it will keep pushing the technology forward, focusing on bringing down the noise cancellation, focusing on, of course, the latency, focusing on voice, focusing on all these different aspects, barge in, barge out, which are fairly technical. And the reality is when we look at, we are still in 2026 and the vast majority of businesses in the US, and not only in the US, still use an IVR system. An IVR system is the first level of automation and customer service that was implemented, which is trying to do a triage and avoiding to have customers being redirected from one place to the other, to the other, to the other. Now, of course, we know that that is not very efficient, and there's no point on exploring that topic in too much depth. But the step up from that is, of course, going from, hey, triaging or deflecting to resolving, trying to get someone's problem resolved in less time than it would take before. But what it tells us, Nedzo and our team, is, hey, the focus is all about customer experience. And why is CX so important? CX is difficult to measure, first of all. And yes, you can have the NPS scores, you can have the CSAT scores and everything. But at the end of the day is, especially service businesses, they tend to become bigger because they get known. And it's not necessarily because of marketing alone. It's because of the experience the customers have with that business. If you had a great experience like renovating your bathroom, you will tell your friends, your family, because you're proud of it. And you say, hey, these guys were quick, they were efficient, it was amazing. When I had a problem, I called them or I messaged them and the problem got sorted and solved right away. Versus the same person that got a good bathroom renovation, like the materials, everything is the same, but then they had a small problem. They had to reach out to the business. And it doesn't matter if it was an IVR system, if it was a human being, anyone on the other side. If they had a poor experience with the business, odds are they say, hey, I'm happy with bathroom. It looks great, but like I would never hire them again. And I really don't suggest them to anyone. And this is the key thing for businesses to grow, which is the silent compounding effect. So
Yep.
just automating is not enough. And that's what we are really putting a lot of focus and effort on here at Nedzo is how can we allow businesses to deliver a world-class customer experience to their customers? Of course, while allowing them to reduce their operational costs, while allowing them to have better visibility into the areas and topics that need more focus from their side to improve, whether it's CS, whether it's sales, whether it's anything else. But this is something that puts Nets on a completely different side of the spectrum, especially for conversational AI powered solutions, because we are going way beyond the AI agent itself. We go way beyond just the actions, the capabilities, the how good the conversation is. So that I would say that is my take, and that's why I'm so excited about what we are building. As you said, we do have two product lines. So we have Net AI for service, Net AI for sales. It's one single agent, and I think that is the novelty here. We went from a multi-agent setup to a uni-agent setup. So Ned is your buddy. Ned will answer every single customer question, inquiry proactively and of course reactively, whether that's phone calls, emails, chat, or anything in between.
Yeah. And also, of course, before everything had to be created yourself. And now, yeah, I think it's pretty cool that we're now working with procedures, which are super easy to configure. You just need to say, when this happens, then do this, collect this information, and it's done already. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's pretty cool. Also, the testing suite that we are building now, because we know that people like,
Testing.
yeah, they hate testing. But they like to see if the agent works. But making the call every time again and again and again to try different edge cases basically, or just see how it reacts on specific things. Nobody wants to do that. That is very time consuming, and it's a waste of your time. So
Actually, let
with
me let
this,
me just jump in there
yeah.
really quick on that topic before you move on, because I think that is a very interesting thing that you just said, which is if you think about AI agents, for a lot of people, they are like black boxes, right?
Hmm.
So, in the same time, like let's say a new manufacturer comes out, a car manufacturer, and says like, "Hey, we now ship cars with 5 wheels and no steering wheel." You're like, and why should I buy? Oh, it's way better. It will automate your way to work. You are kind of like, oh, I need to see this tested properly because it's like you don't know what you don't know. It's something new. Whenever it's something new arrives to the market, it's like it's the unknown cost that makes you feel anxious, and that is what I feel that a lot of business owners that we have the pleasure to have conversations with, and that have either experimented themselves or talked to other like alternatives, feel that way. Which is like, I'm just afraid that this does something. And we ask, like, what? They don't know. Something that I'm not expecting. And that's where that testing suite really comes in handy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and yeah, it's gonna make testing so much easier, so much quicker. Yeah, everyone is gonna be able to run everything so much quicker. I really love
Yeah,
that.
me too. On that note, since you touched on the testing suite, of course, we used this show, this podcast, to share our point of view on a lot of different decisions that we make about our product. Also, a point of view on how the AI landscape, or more specifically the conversational agentic space, is evolving. But I had some good feedback from people like listening that found it very interesting how our track record brought us all the way to this point. So sometimes sharing a little bit more about what's happening behind the scenes can be valuable. And here, one thing that I wanted to bring up is, why did we decide to move away from a multi-agent orchestration system or having multiple agents for different use cases versus now having Ned, and Ned handles everything?
Yeah, the certainty that it gives companies, of course. Like you kind of touched on already before, it was more a black box, and build it yourself. And if you build a version of an agent that is not good, is using wrong models, has the tool configured in the wrong way, nobody likes to get charged even if the product doesn't work very well. So with Ned AI, we're giving that guarantee that basically it works. Otherwise, you're not paying. The quality is
It
on
does the
us.
enterprise model.
Yeah, of course. That's the big change. It's making everything easier and more predictable for our users.
Yeah, I would actually take it even 2 steps further back, which is this whole thing started with, we had customers, which you just said, which of course the product worked like described, but since it has a lot of flexibility, they would build agents that were not necessarily optimized. The reason is very simple, of course. Even though we have our for deployment engineering team for anything enterprise, anyone that would come in on the self-serve side, they would set it up and then, oh, it's not working, or it's not working as well as I wanted it to. Even though it was doing exactly what it was prompted for, how it was
Hmm.
connected. Sometimes the connectors will not properly connected. But the point was, how can we guarantee results for anyone who implements Nedzo on their customer-facing customer service lines? And that was the question that we had to crack. How can we guarantee results without sounding, of course, we're talking about mid-market businesses, talking about how can we actually deliver results guaranteed at scale. And the key pivotal point for us was, hey, if we don't have our own models trained on our own data, if we don't have a proper knowledge system continuously improve itself with the knowledge of that company, which is a topic by itself, if we don't have something that's centralized and is unified and has memory and has all of these things, which is 300 times more complex than just building a single agent for single use cases, we are not able to guarantee results because they will vary based on every single agent that is set up.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, now with Ned AI out, we are about to put on our website and everywhere else our outcome-based pricing. What it means is we no longer use the usage-based model, use an outcome-based model, which is you only get charged when Ned actually resolves a conversation end to end without requiring a human in the loop or a team member in the loop. Or two, if it's with Ned for sales, if it fully qualifies according to the customer's criteria that they set, lead end to end. So it's just outcome based. If for something is not working, if something it needs to be escalated, if for some reason it couldn't properly qualify, that doesn't count. I think that brings more predictability for mid-market and enterprise businesses P&L. So they know, hey, as we grow our customer service volume, we have also a very stable P&L. It doesn't have spikes. Secondly, it puts our ass on the line, essentially, which is like, hey, we own the problem. We need, it's now we have, instead of focusing on making the platform by itself better, we have that plus Ned needs to be the absolutely best conversational AI agent on the market, hands down, no question about it.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that we're on our way to do that. Um, if it's not already the best. Yeah,
Let me take some
not
shots
much to
there.
add there.
Let me take some shots there. Of course, there are some companies, and I think I welcome all type of competition. I welcome when I look at companies that are like a couple steps ahead of us in terms of VC investments. They have had more rounds. They have a lot. They are backed. When I look at it, and I look like, hey, how can we compete at that level even if we have less ammunition? And the interesting thing is, our positioning is quite unique as we are solving problems that some of the bigger players in our market are not even able to solve right now. And because we know like the physical economy, they live by their phone, but phone is not the only source of conversations. So it's kind of a very challenging and complex topic, which is one, we need to look at companies that might be using some legacy communication systems, right? On the second
Hmm.
side, their system of record could be, sometimes it's not Salesforce, sometimes it's not HubSpot, sometimes it's not a big known brand or big known RM, sometimes it's something very custom, sometimes even a little bit more traditional, where we have to find very clever ways to be able to interact with it. And most importantly, how can we create coherence between, okay, the whole customer journey so that Ned knows when someone is reaching out for the first time. Ned knows if this is a repeating buyer, if it's a customer service, if it's a success conversation, so on and so forth. And being able to compete at that level is what led us also to now, I wouldn't say shift, I would say fine tune our positioning and also our goals, which is for us, it's all about speed now. We we just increased our team by 20, almost 30% in 30 days. Because right now we're doing a disservice by not allowing more businesses to experience Nedzo and to reap the benefits of having Nedzo on their comms. So on the technical side, what have you seen in terms of improvements that Ned AI brings in comparison to the previous agents that we allowed customers to build in Nedzo? What are like the noticeable improvements that they will feel as soon as they deploy Nedzo on a channel?
Oh, first of all, it's very channel aware now. No more need to build specific prompts so it knows exactly which channel it is, etc. So, for example, on the email channel, it writes emails. It doesn't write just a short message. On phone, it's very aware if it's on a phone call, if it's inbound or outbound. And chat, it even goes as far to know if it's on Facebook, if it's on Instagram, if it's on SMS or WhatsApp, or even on the website. All these channels are baked in now. It knows that very well. But that is not even the biggest improvement. For example, for voice, we are using way smarter models now. More modern, still very conversational, and the latency decrease that we've been able to get now is insane. Before we were struggling with 1200 to 1800 milliseconds of latency, and I can say with certainty that we've decreased that to 600 to 800 milliseconds now, which is almost unheard of on the market.
Yeah, because of course we do see these benchmarks, like especially voice infrastructure players add for marketing purposes, like 300, 500, 600. But yeah, one thing is like when you look at you look at like, hey, I hit it once. Another thing is like it's P90, right? P90 like 90%, over 90% of the times. And yes, I think we both were in shock when we first tested it, like the first raw version, we were like in shock, like, oh
Yeah.
shoot. I'd say the three areas on the voice specifically that me personally got super excited about was one, the awareness of if you're trying to say something and you're like mid sentence, you might have just seen something like uh and pause, but it understands like, hey, the sentence is not complete. So it will actually wait for it in a proper, more human like way. Secondly, of course, how snappy it feels. You can really feel it. It's almost like using an iPhone 4 and then going for iPhone 17. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is quick.
Yeah.
You didn't know it
Exactly.
was, you needed it that quick until you have it. And the third, for me, it's one of the most important ones, is how precise, reliable, and consistent Ned is following procedures,
Hmm.
of course, making use of of its knowledge, following protocols, following guidelines. It's very, very, very precise. It's hyper focused, and I'm trying to think like about some of the use cases that we tried when we were doing the first early demos. I can't say enough about that. And this is just like, we're still in early days in terms of like, this is still something quote unquote new for us. But for now, it's like, it's just more and better, more and better. We have team members dedicated just to make Ned AI better. Some focused on the service, Net for service, others on the sales, others on the procedures, others on the guidelines, content, all these different things. Because now we can actually have a proper department focused only on making one thing better. And the beautiful thing is, as we make Net AI better, every single customer will feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Yep.
like, hey, we pushed an update and now only new agents will have it because they need to make adjustments. Is we eat our clients' complexity. I heard Jeff Bezos saying this first, and with Amazon, like how the whole point was eating their clients' complexity. And that has been one of our main flags since the beginning. When we see a big, hairy problem, we think about it, okay, instead of pushing it to the client or to the customer, how can we make it almost invisible to the customer, to a Nedzo customer, and they just feel the improvement?
Yep.
So we're excited. Also, I think it's fair to say it. I think we should share it. We are at the stage where we are starting to now look for outside investment.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being is, actually, let me let you say why. What has led us to change our positioning of like bootstrapping our way to a milestone versus now we are actively exploring opportunities in terms of getting outside capital investment?
Well, in my opinion, we want to build something amazing. We really want to have literally the best AI agent in the world for service and sales. That's our goal right now. And to do that, of course, we need to attract the best talent. We need to work with the best partners. And we are fighting an uphill battle against companies that gets funded 100 million here, 100 million there. While we are trying to bootstrap. And that is a fight that is technically possible, but we gain so much speed by getting funded, of course. Yeah, we will be able to build faster and bigger much quicker.
100%. I'd say it's almost like bringing a knife to a gunfight. But
Yeah.
the key thing is, it's a new technology. The adoption rate is increasing, but it's still very low in the grand scheme of things. Like if you look at the whole world of the entrepreneurial tissue, there are so many companies that are still completely unaware of the impact that this technology like ours can have. And we are building something epic. We have proven ourselves that like from day one as a software company, we've been profitable from day one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now the key is not really about, for us, it's not really the financial. It's about like, hey, how can we get there quicker? And we need partners. We need good people at our side that see our vision, to believe in our vision the same way as we do, to push us quicker to more businesses so that we can keep improving our technology. And it will be super, super interesting looking back at this in a couple years' time and see, okay, how we grew from almost 10 people team to then 500, 700, huge team. Not just because the size is epic by itself, but because we need that many people if we want to actually make the level of impact that we're trying to have. That, I think with that note, that is a wrap. So everyone, appreciate you hanging around with us. Again, I'm Dennis Romes, me, Evo Shipper. And if you're curious about Nedzo and you actually haven't signed up yet, feel free to go to our website. That is nedzo.ai, Nedzo.ai, or just search us up on LinkedIn. Have an amazing one, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Bye-bye.